This is the Get Greater podcast, maximising finances for university students thanks to the University of Newcastle and Greater Bank.
This is the Get Greater podcast.
General advice in this podcast has been prepared without taking into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Before acting on any advice, consider its appropriateness. Consider the relevant disclosure documents, which include the product disclosure statements, any financial products, and seek advice from a licensed financial advisor to decide what is right for you.
The University of Newcastle Finance Academy and Greater Bank presents Get Greater, a podcast about maximising your finances during your time as a University of Newcastle student. Tips and tricks about how to save better, spend smarter, and invest wiser. This episode, we're going to get greater at budgeting. I'm here with my friends, co-hosts, Julia and Curtis. Welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, Zach. It's good to be here.
So look, I have no idea what a budget is. I know it's a plan. I know, some people use them, some people don't. Curtis, are you a budgeter?
No, I am not a budgeter. I know people that make budgets, but I definitely do not. And Julia, I feel like you might know more about budgets than me, so...
Your lack of organisation, it's just giving me a little bit of a tummy ache,
Hey.
I'm one of those people that puts everything in a spreadsheet. It's colour-coded. It's got coding in the back of it. It's phenomenal. Now, you don't have to be that technical if you want to create a budget. The way that I think of a budget for myself is I'm getting paid on this day and I've got to make it to that next payday with things I've got to spend, and I've got to make sure I get from payday 1 to payday 2. That's essentially how I think of it. If I've got stuff that's left over, that's phenomenal. It goes into my savings plan, but it's actually about being really aware of the money that we're spending. Because if you think about how easy it is to shop online, to pay pass, just using our phone to pay, or even your watch, it's so easy to just keep spending. And if you don't bring yourself back and have a little check of how much you've spent and how much you've got left, how are you meant to reach any of your financial goals? So that's the way I see a budget.
That does sound very organised. I don't, it's not that I don't have the time, it's just probably that I'm lazy. I try not to spend anything too expensive without knowing that I have the money for it. But other than that, money comes in, it's in the account, and I transfer it over to my card if I want to buy something. And if not, it just sort of stays in that account. Some goes into savings, some goes into super. But besides from that, the money's there, and that's it really.
Have you heard about these savings, these budgeting apps though, that they can actually connect to your bank account and show all the transactions? They categorize them for you. This week you've spent this much on food. That's what
I don't want to see what that number is.
that bit's always a little bit depressing, but it's all automatic. So you can actually get it to notify you when you've reached some sort of threshold that you've placed in your mind, or it can remind you when a bill's coming up. So that example you use is really good. Like you want to spend on an expensive item,
yes,
but you forgot about your phone bill that you've also got to pay in between now and that next payday. So it reminds you, and you can put it in the calendar and it'll automatically fill that in with artificial intelligence, which I don't understand. I just love it and use it all the time.
That does sound very convenient. Because, as I said, I'm lazy. So, maybe I'll have to check that out. They're just on app stores.
Absolutely. Just search budget in your app store.
Okay.
This is the Get Greater podcast. Rate and review us. It doesn't cost a cent. Do it now, wherever you listen.
Wow, that sounds even easy for you, Curtis.
Yeah, it does. But, it's 6 letters to type in. Got to open up the app store. Then I got to do updates.
That's a first world problem if I've ever heard one.
Who
right
has
there.
the time? Not me.
So, Julia, we're talking about you're obviously a good budgeter. Do you have a specific plan? Do you save a specific amount of money, or is it just kind of depends on the week?
So I try and keep it so my fixed expenses. So for me, I live out of home, so it's things like rent, utilities, my phone bill, and my car expenses. They form about 50% of my income, and then I've got that other 50% left to play with. So what I do with that is I go 20% into what I want to do in my life. I'm not one of those people that doesn't want to live their life and just wants to save all of their money. I want to go and spend time with people, maybe do little trips, things like that. So I call that my fun fund.
Fun fund, I like that. That's catchy. That's catchy.
Then I've got 20% that I like to put away for a rainy day, because inevitably, if you're driving around, you're going to get a flat tire. or you're going to have a pet that needs to go to the vet or something like that. An emergency expense, I call that a fan account. So that's when so-and-so hits the fan, right?
I think I get
Then
that.
finally,
I get that one.
I've got my 10% that's on top, and I have that taken out first as an automatic transfer, and that goes to savings. And I actually split that between super and a savings account. So, that might go towards a home loan, deposit on a house, that sort of thing. So those longer term goals.
See, we have everything in common. We split up super and savings.
Yeah.
Everything in
sound.
common, yes, we have very, very
Wow. Wow. So how does that compare to you, Curtis? Seems like Julie might be
She's
a bit better than you.
Oh, I wouldn't say
In,
better.
in budgeting.
In
I'm talking.
budgeting, yeah. She's got an argument, but at the moment I've never come into any trouble, and I do have some money saved up. The fan account, as Julia so crudely mentioned.
Okay.
I do have some money in case of an emergency, but besides from that, I just have money in an account that if I want something, I'll buy it. But what I try and do is I try and limit myself. So if I see a fancy bass guitar, I will wait a bit, maybe wait a few pay cycles so I can pay for it and still have money left over in case something happens. I tend, if it's something a very expensive purchase, I try to have, say if it's $1,000, I'd want to have at least $1,000 afterwards. Okay. So I try to have double the amount of money. But besides from that, that's all that I have with budgeting, even if you would call that budgeting, which I don't know.
Well, as a uni student, obviously, one of the biggest expenses I think we have at the start of a semester is your textbooks. Mm-hmm. How do you guys have any tips or tricks how you kind of combat how expensive some of these textbooks are, or a way you save a bit of money maybe?
For most of the classes, I'll try and wing it and not buy a textbook.
That sounds promising.
And still hanging in there. There's absolutely some classes where you need to buy a textbook. What I normally do, because I don't really budget for a boring things account, because I consider textbooks a bit boring.
They might be boring, but they help you with the education, don't they?
They do. Yeah, we're investing in our future.
That's exactly right.
So what's $70 when it's my
70, that's cheap.
That's
for a textbook. I think with the money that I have saved over time, that's just kept on growing and growing. So if it is an expense like a textbook, I hopefully have some money there. There are textbooks at the library if I can't afford to have a textbook. So there are sort of other things and services that I could use if I desperately needed a textbook. But my main strategy of winging it, as I'm sure if there's a course coordinator or a teacher listening right now, is probably cringing.
Just make sure you sit next to someone in class that's got one. Right?
Exactly. I'm sure all of my past lecturers and stuff are looking at my answers and going,
that explains.
Explains, Curtis.
Yeah, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly.
Right. We're also really lucky as University of Newcastle students that we've got the textbook exchange, and that's a really valuable thing. It's not just for us, but we do have a really strong community on that platform to be able to buy textbooks from there.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing that I've used in the past is just an ebook that I can download onto my computer. I've done that for two reasons. One is that it's cheaper. Three reasons. One, because it's cheaper. Two, because it often has hidden resources throughout, mini quizzes and things like that. So you're getting added value, but also then you don't have to carry a heavy textbook around all the time.
That's a good point.
So if you're going to consider purchasing a new textbook, have a look at the ebook as well to save a bit of money. And the Co-op Bookshop actually has a second-hand trade as well, where you can actually sell them your used textbooks. If you keep them in really good condition throughout the semester, you can sell them back to the Co-op Bookshop.
This is the Get Greater podcast. Save a stamp. Drop us an email to tell us what you want to learn about your finances. Finance Academy at newcastle.edu.au.
I'm thinking obviously textbooks is one of our big expenses. Is there anything else you guys think it's a big uni expense you didn't realise maybe when you came to uni, or it's kind of amounted over the time being at uni?
I think a laptop is a very big expense and investment. Going into uni, I had a laptop that I'd had for quite a few years, and it was getting to its older days, not very great. So a big expense that I had, obviously it's not going to be every semester like textbooks, but buying a new laptop new powerful laptop that can hopefully last me, fingers crossed, through my whole degree.
Yeah.
If I keep on buying textbooks, if I keep on not buying textbooks, my degree might be longer and might need another one. But we'll come to that.
It's interesting you mentioned laptops, actually, because halfway through my degree, my laptop, I mean, it was probably user error, but my laptop packed it in. Yeah. So I went, and I hadn't saved up for that, and I didn't feel right using my emergency fund for a laptop, and that was just a personal choice, and I probably could have. We're so lucky that we've got so many computers, particularly I study at the New Space City campus, and there's always access to computers, so I'm lucky enough that I've got the time to come in and prepare for class beforehand. It's a bit annoying in class, and I've had to spend more money over time, I guess, in exercise books and stationery and stuff like that, because I take all my notes by hand.
That's old school.
It is.
It's
It's
old
old
school.
school. It is. But it can be done, and it's just not something, it's something that I am slowly saving up for, and I'm probably going to get one in time for my last semester.
Julia's one over. I think I might try and make a budget. There is a budget template sort of maker on the Greater Banks website, so that is something that I might use. There are other ones online that I'll look at as well.
And don't forget about those apps that you can connect to your bank, and they can
Yep.
automatically help you categorise things.
Yeah, and fingers crossed, make a budget and save more money than Julia. And
Get dream and
All right, guys. Like I've both informed me, I had no idea, so it's good to hear. If you were to give one tip or trick to the students listening, what would you say?
Well, as a budgeting novice, I don't really have much or many tips. The only thing I would say is just sort of be careful of your expenses, really. That's sort of how I get through with my non-budget lifestyle. If I don't need something, I normally have the willpower to either not buy it or wait a few months before I buy it and have the money. So that's the only thing I really have. If you can't afford something, then don't buy it.
I think mine
Thank you.
would be, don't forget about that emergency fund. It's really easy to put money aside for something like a holiday or a car or something that you can see that's tangible, but it's those unexpected things that get people into financial trouble. They have to take out loans and stuff like that to try and cover things. So I would say if you can work into your budget some sort of rainy day fund, safety net, whatever you want to call it, I think you are doing yourself a world of good.
Awesome. Well, this has been Get Greater in Budgeting. Thanks for listening.
This is the Get Greater podcast. If you liked this podcast, invest in listening to our others. There's a lot more to learn.